Hi everyone, and welcome to our Ultimate Guide on Amplitude. My name is Ruben, and I'll be guiding you through this tour of the Amplitude product and how it works. Now, for the whole, all the videos that you're about to see, and really all the content you're about to see, we're going to use a demo account that Amplitude provides. This is an account they created to match a music app, similar to what Spotify might do, if you're familiar with that. So this is data they maintain, and it gets updated on a regular basis, and it will let us see the functionality of all the reports using the sample data, which would be pretty cool. Now we're going to start here. The very first thing we want to look at is the segmentation report. Now when we click on new here and we click on the charts, this is a little preview of all the different things we'll be looking at, segmentations and funnels and retentions, Pathfinder, revenue, all of that. For today, we want to look at segmentation to start. Now this is the query builder here in Amplitude, and in the segmentation report, we'll start by doing some kind of event, right? So let's take a common event. Let's say play song or you should sign up. Let's take that one. So now this event is tracking all the user signups, right? And you can see here when we hover the event, we actually get a little pop up here that tells exactly what this event is. This is how it's set up inside the Amplitude product for guidance. And down here we get a chart, and we're looking at uniques. So how many unique users fired this event, and we get a daily breakdown here, right? We can make this weekly, we can make it monthly, we can make it different kind of, we can make it real time, and of course the different day ranges. We might have some pre-built, or we might make just a custom date range, right? So let's go back to daily. Now we also have, taking this very simplified example, right? We can also look at event totals. In this case, they'll likely be very similar. Users only tend to sign up once, but you might have other events. Let's imagine an event like play a song. That might be an event that a user might fire multiple times. So under uniques, we'll be looking at how many unique users fired the event, and under event totals, you'll be looking at how many total times the event was fired, right? All right, we have active percentage, right? A percentage of how many users are active. Active is a special definition that Amplitude has built into the product. It's commonly used in software products, so they actually built it in. So you can define, depending on how you define your active users, you can say if a user completed the play song event and they favored a song, so they like a song, those two events define active users. Anything else, maybe they share a song, maybe they download a song, those don't count. That's what the active measure will be done. And we actually tend to see it here, right? Any active event, right, that you consider active. Now, all this, whenever you see the little Amplitude logo here next to something, those tend to be default things that Amplitude tracks out of the box for you. They tend to be system defaults, right? So top global events is something that they built in. The active portion, the new user, same thing, tends to be defined by a user's first event. So you see that quite a bit. All the stuff here, this will be events that have been custom tracked, added to Amplitude. We can see the same idea with user properties, for example, right? These are all the user properties that Amplitude tracks out of the box for you, typically client side, or if you pass the right information server side. And we can, of course, pass on our own user properties here, right? A few other options we move on. We have the average. So same thing, average events per active user. So we get a number here, 1.4. Same thing, right? We see a number that's maybe slightly higher, but this number is likely much more closer to 1 than that. Frequency, right? How many times it happens? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. We have properties. We can sum some kind of property value if we had it, right? In this case, we don't. An example here might be maybe like a purchase event, and we want to sum the revenue, right? And then formula, which lets us do custom things. So maybe we want to take uniques and totals, add them up, subtract them, and things like that. It also gets a little bit more into more advanced analysis, and it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of what you want to do. So let's do here. Now, we actually got added this automatically. Let's actually group it by platform. So now we take the same event, and now we group it by the platform that has been set. So in this case, it's web. We have iOS. We have Android. We have a few platforms, so we can see a little bit of that. We can also have a word clause, so we can filter it. So we might want to say we want to look at by platform, but only only from a specific country, only from the United States, let's say, right? So now we filter only US users, and then we still group them by platform. This logic here, this word group by, is actually very similar to how SQL works, which is interesting if you ever actually start to move on to using more SQL, which actually Amplitude also supports. You'll have some familiarity in terms of how to build those queries, since this translates almost one-on-one to SQL, right? So we have that. Then at the bottom here, we get the table breakdown, right? We can do a few things here. We might want to select things or hide them. I find things like the row average is something that tends to be a small detail that's quite helpful, right? When you get the average here, or you can have the median or the change. So you start to do a little bit of analysis. You can of course export this to CSV. And the same thing here we can apply to users, right? We can filter users by some kind of user property, or maybe we want to add segments and so on. I actually want to show you a little bit more of an advanced example here. So this is a dashboard we'll be coming back later. But let's look at this segmentation example. So this is daily total revenue from different sources. So in this case, you can see we have multiple events. We have a view ad, and we're grouping it by a revenue property. Then we have a purchase song or video event, grouping it by the same revenue property. And then we have a purchase ticket. And then instead of using some of the default options, we have a custom formula here, right? So here we are summing the properties of A. This is A, view ad. So we're summing all the revenue here. Then we're adding the sum of B, the property of sum of B, same thing. So we're adding that revenue. And then we're taking the totals of C, and then we're multiplying that by 100 and adding that all together. And then when we do that, we get a daily revenue number here that we can then break it apart and show into a graph, right? So this is a little bit more advanced, but you can see how complex you can get using the same data structure and coming up with your own things. So this report is really what you're going to be using quite a bit in terms of questions about revenue and marketing sources and future usage and really any other question you want around this. Of course, this also tends to be a good starting point. From here, you might also want to go and explore users or a few other things. But this is the first report that you need to master, and from here we can build upon that and move on to something like funnels.